Hello, everyone. Janeway here. I wanted to take a little time to talk about the current state of the game based on my observations throughout the season. As you all know, the current season is ending at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, the 4th of February. And so um, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the common decks that I am seeing, uh, some of the ways to potentially counter those, some of the different flavors of the ones I'm more familiar with, that kind of thing. This is going to be like a mini ongoing series, just because I don't think I can have long videos right now. And so let's talk about the deck I've been using the most this season, and this is a destruction deck, self-destruction to be more specific. And so what this primarily runs on is getting Carnage or Venom to destroy cards that will benefit you in some way. So by destroying Bucky Barnes, you get Winter Soldier. By destroying or discarding Wolverine, it gets an extra 2 power. By destroying Sabretooth, you get it back in your hand and it costs 0, so you can do kind of a round 6 uh, multi-card play, which the utility is pretty helpful. Nova, of course, ups all cards plus 1 power when it's destroyed. That's all cards on the field, not all cards in general. Um, Angel comes into play when something is destroyed on the field, which is helpful. This also Destructo deck runs heavily on Apocalypse's ability, so there's a little bit of a discard element to this as well. So whenever Apocalypse is discarded, it gets plus 4 power. Um, Not taking field effects into play, uh, Blade and Sif are both able to cause discards. So without any uh, field effects, not counting any field effects, you could double the power of Apocalypse potentially. Um, to kind of act as secondary or supplementary, last season Galacta, Daughter of Galactus, was kind of like one of the big cards back then. Um, I still have kept it in my destruction deck because uh, it can help for um, 2 or 3 or 4 turns if Limbo's in play. Uh, with doing some quick boosts to uh, your uh, your characters as you put them out. And I said up to 3 or 4 with the limbo because if you have Sabretooth in your hand, you can put down a 0 with it. It's usually only going to be 2 or 3 that come into play. Another unique thing I've been using here is Spider Woman, and I mean she has good power for her cost, but on top of that, you can weaken your enemy a little bit, and so that's been um, helpful for me during this season. Now, this isn't obviously the only flavor of this kind of destruction deck. Things like um, all right, let me just do this. Things like Deadpool will come up where whenever it's destroyed, its power is doubled. Um, Sometimes for an extra uh, kill um, or destruction, some people use Deathlock. I prefer Venom over Deathlock. Not everybody has Venom though. Sometimes you might end up seeing Death thrown in there um, with the expectation that with a lot of destruction going on your end, and if even more happens on if you're also playing a destruction deck, that means this could get very cheap very fast. Um, those are just some examples of other things that one could easily find in this kind of deck. I've been personally thinking about getting rid of Angel and throwing in Deadpool, but um, at the moment I kind of like Angel in there as it is. And that's in part due to some of the other uh, decks I've been running into. And so we'll talk about this in another video, but one of the semi-common decks I've been seeing have been uh, what I'll call swap negative decks, where essentially people play cards like the Hood that give you negative power, or do I have it? Or like the Hobgoblin, negative power. Some of these end up swapping on their own. So, if you played a Hobgoblin, that means you give on that specific field -8 power. But even things like Sentry, which gets the Void out, can be thrown across to your side of the field with Viper or other things like Viper. Um, so one of the ways you can counter that is by filling the area of the field where the negatives come in if you're able, with this deck. The other more, I'd say probably a more common way of getting rid of those negative cards that you don't want would be to use your destruction cards like Carnage or Venom or Deathlock to just wipe them out of play. And in the case of Carnage and Venom, well, in the case of Carnage, get some uh, power out of it. Venom would unfortunately lose power from that, but at least you would be offsetting it by at least three by destroying it. So still kind of useful, still kind of not. That might be one of the cases where Deathlock wins, or Deathlock just should be added as a third destruction card. I don't recommend a third destruction card because um, when you have two destruction cards in your hand, you get limited very quickly in terms of what you can play, and you're relying a lot on whatever the card is that you draw. Um, I've seen people put Killmonger into this deck. Killmonger, as a reminder, is a card that destroys all one-cost cards. Um, so sometimes people will use that as a way to pop Nova. Um, and to counter another semi-common deck that has been floating around, well, two semi-common decks that have been floating around, Thanos and uh, like a mini one cost speed deck. Um, that is the other deck I've been playing, a version of the other deck I've been playing for this season. Um, in general, the destruction decks seem to be doing fairly well. I've been running into them repeatedly, with some of the minor variations that I mentioned. Um, Mine's slightly away from the standard, but that can be a good thing at times. Uh, so um, yeah, that's basically kind of an outline of the self-destruction deck. Uh, I will be posting another video, or another a series of other videos of some of the other decks that I've seen during this season, and hopefully with some knowledge of these kind of decks, one will be able to prepare for the next season that's starting uh, tomorrow when the current season ends. So I hope this video was at least a little bit informative, and uh, that it can help you as you start the new season. As always, You can see me regularly playing Monday through Friday on Twitch. Um, Admiral Janeway being the handle. I've also put it in the about me and about this video at the bottom. Uh, I hope you all enjoyed it. Um, More videos coming. Janeway out.